Hey, good evening, everybody. We just want to say thank you for coming tonight. It's a beautiful night to be outside and also to learn a little bit. This is Leah. I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Invasive Species and Wetlands Committee for coming tonight. We're looking very forward to hearing what you have to say and hoping to take home a few good recipes. So thank you. Yeah, so thanks for coming tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you. Oh, hello, everybody. It's so nice to see people that I know and people that I'm just meeting and people I only knew on an email thread. So thank you all for coming out. It's gorgeous. We'll be inside for a little bit, going through some slides, talking about some different plants that we're going to go outside and see. And then we'll walk that trail that's kind of a circle. I heard it was called like the kids trail. We're going to walk the kids trail and look in person at the different plants that we are going to talk about tonight and even do a little tasting. So I hope you came with a little bit of an appetite. Marnie is taking care of things for us, so thank you, Marnie. Everything is either gluten-free or vegan, or gluten-free and vegan, not or, or there's an option, like a regular option. And so if she's bringing something around and, but mostly I'll tell you because I'll be talking about the recipes in advance. All right. Okay, thank you. Now I've kind of got my bearings. Yeah. So I just wanted to start by saying how grateful I am for my teachers. I have had a lot of learning over the years, and I taught middle school for 30 years. And while I was teaching middle school, I had, if you look at that bottom row, a lot of wonderful experiences that helped me understand the land and plants, and I love to cook, and so with those experiences, I started using some of those plants in our stewardship work to eat and to teach my students how to cook and work with. And so we did a lot of that kind of thing in the classroom, going outside, gathering plants and coming in and cooking and eating, because it was middle school, and middle school students love to eat. I mean, really, who doesn't? But they do especially. And then in the top row, I started to get interested in some other things. So, I was doing stewardship work, but wanting to know more about plants that were edible. And then, well, how can you use these plants in other ways that might just heal your body? Or using them for art and crafts or ceremony. And so I have some other teachers that I was getting that information from. And currently I am studying with Robin Rose Bennett and have an apprenticeship with her. So I go out to the east side of the US a few times a year. And really, though, nature and plants are my biggest teachers. And I'm so grateful to be able to share some of my connections with them with you today. And so the point, once I retired from teaching, I created this business, Joyful Wildcrafting, to help people connect more with the natural world as they would like to. So for me, I like to connect through food and through herbal remedies, through art, and through ceremony or ritual. Many of you, I'm assuming, have read Braiding Sweetgrass or have seen Robin Wall Kimmerer speak. I am so grateful that she has written about the honorable harvest and a way of connecting with the land that is a little bit different from what our culture often does, which can be extractive. And so these principles that you can see there are things that many different indigenous cultures have as their worldview, essentially. And she has just written them down for all of us to be able to talk about and read about and practice. So I'm really grateful for that. And there's a young person's guide, the same book, which is also wonderful. So I wanted to share those today. All right, if we're gonna eat plants, we have to be 100% sure of the identification of the plants. obviously. And the reason I have that banana up there in that picture of Sam Thayer, my favorite field guide, is because he says that you should never eat anything that you're not as sure of what that species is as you are of a banana. If you're not that sure, then don't eat it. And a lot of people ask me, like, well, what plant app do you use, or do you like plant apps and all of that? And so how I like to work with that is, if I'm truly unsure, I will start with a plant app. I'll start with my phone, because I don't take this book into the wild. It's almost 4 pounds, and I'm small. So it's enough for me to have my little foraging bag. I'm not going to take this with me. But I will use an app, and I'll get to what it says it is, and I'll take lots of pictures, because you can see that it says, be curious. And that's what it is. It's not one picture. It's not looking at a plant as you walk by and going, oh, that's that, or that's that, or that's that. You have to really be curious to know if a plant is, if it's the correct plant. Sometimes it'll be the difference between the top of a plant and the bottom of the leaf looking different, can be a completely different species. So, but otherwise they seem very similar. And so I'll take all those pictures and have the app tell me something, and then I'll double check. Is it edible? Well, Sam Thayer's field guide has everything that's edible from the Rocky Mountains east in North America and, North America. So, and central. No, eastern and central North America. There we go. So anyway, it's a fantastic book. Every species, there's quite a detail of what it should look like. And so then with my pictures and taking what that app had said, then I'll double check. And I'm sure that you could get a book from the library and do something similar, double check yourself. There are other great books. I brought some other books that are also good. I just like this one because it has everything in it. It doesn't have all the plants that I use for herbal remedies, though. If it's not, like yarrow, for example, I use that in a tea and in many other ways, but since it's not really used to eat, it's not in this book, even though you can eat it. I drink it as a tea. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because I think it's so valuable. Oh, also, I forget the date, August, maybe 1st or 2nd, I am holding a class on how to get the most out of this book at the Wittenbach-Wegge Center. So if you look at it and you're like, oh man, I would love that, but I'm not sure it would be useful to me, then you could always come to the class and see what you think. All right, so the first plants that we're gonna see when we go outside are honeysuckle and autumn olive. And I'm focusing today on the flowers. I didn't bring a recipe for you. I made honeysuckle syrup last week, and it's pretty labor intensive. It's fun, and if you just don't mind just, taking all the flowers off, I'll show you how to do that when we go outside. Then all you have to do is pour boiling water over them and put a lid on it, let that steep overnight, and then strain it, squeeze out the flowers. And so then the flavor is in the water, and then you just add sugar. And you don't cook it for too long, just enough to dissolve the sugar and get it a little bit thick, and then it's done and you have syrup. So I only have like this much syrup, so I didn't bring it to share. But it is lovely. And you could do the same thing with autumn olive or combine them. We'll look at those plants outside. I put the berries there so that you could see that autumn olive berries are edible, but honeysuckle are not. So when we go out and look at those shrubs, then just remember that you're not going to eat the honeysuckle fruits, but you could eat autumn olive if you wanted.
Please do, because both of those are invasive species.
Thank you, Marnie. All right, now something that you're also not tasting this, but I have an example that you can open and smell if you want. So brambles, which is basically any a raspberry, blackberry, dewberry, black-capped raspberries, anything in that family. We'll be looking out outside at some of these. Anything in that family you can eat. And they're wonderful for your bones. And they have other great properties as well. I love to use raspberry leaves in tea. Well, actually all brambles, I combine them. And make a tea, it's really wonderful for your digestion. It's also can be helpful if you have different sufferings and reproductive issues, like not to help you reproduce, but if in that area you're having some issues, you could use raspberry leaves. Or if you're pregnant, drinking raspberry tea is really helpful. I personally love it for the digestion aspect, but also for the nourishing vinegar. So I'm gonna let you start if you don't mind. Now what's in here is not raspberry leaves, that's horsetail. And I didn't see horsetail at your property. It doesn't mean it's not here, I just didn't notice it on my walk yesterday. But when you have plants that are high in minerals and trace minerals and silica, and so like magnesium and manganese and calcium, all of those elements get pulled out of the plant into the vinegar. And so that is why I soak them in vinegar for 6 weeks. So essentially all you do is pick the leaves and chop them up really fine, and then put them in the jar. I don't even fill the jar. I put about 1/3 to 1/2 cup. I mean, you could go 3/4 of a cup, it doesn't matter. But you just want to fill it then with apple cider vinegar, because that's so healthful. You know, it has that mother in it and all the extra, getting a lot of extra things with apple cider vinegar. And then you want to make sure that it doesn't float the plant matter doesn't float out of the apple cider vinegar and get moldy. So every day you could stir it or shake it or just rub it around a little bit. I'm sorry. I was just looking at you because your face was like, oh no. Yeah, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to call you out. But so all herbalists, well, I shouldn't say it that way. Herbalists know what type of menstruum or liquid to use with an herb to pull out the constituents they want. And so I, of course, had read, you know, oh, make a vinegar out of this, make a vinegar out of that. But it wasn't until I had a DEXA scan that had some results I wasn't very happy about, and so then I bought this Healthy Bones nutrition plan and cookbook, that I realized why. Oh, okay, there's a section in here on vinegar, and she talks about all sorts of plants that are just forageable and that are so healthful for your bones, and how to make the vinegar. And then it matched up with everything I had known from an herbalist perspective, but I loved hearing this. And so then I started, and I haven't stopped. I make so many nourishing vinegars. So the recipes that I'm sharing with you today are all printed over there if you would like to take a picture of it, or if you'd like me to email you links to them, like I have some of them in documents, or there's one that is not printed that's actually a link to an outside source. I would be happy to email you all of these. So there's a email list back here. If you don't want to be on the newsletter, that's fine. Just put your email address. You don't even have to put your name, and just write like recipe only or something, or just don't put your names and I'll know. It's just the recipes. But anyway, the nourishing vinegar recipe is there for you, and it tells you so many different herbs that you can use. For example, mugwort, chickweed, stinging nettle, horsetail you saw, amaranth, raspberry, red clover. So far it's always been the leaves, but the red clover is the flower. Dandelion leaves, lamb's quarter, motherwort, and shepherd's purse. So I highly recommend it. Strawberries have a lot of those things in them too. I have that picture there because I like to use that in tea and in vinegar. I do both, just like the raspberry or other brambles. So I wanted to just add them both on the same slide. Yeah, there we go. That's the recipe. Now, you could put them all together. You could do different ones. The only things that I saw here were the brambles and the strawberries. But they could be. I mean, there's probably motherwort somewhere here. All right, cleavers. Oh, man. Okay, so now this is the highlight, really. So you know cleavers as that plant that, like, sticks to you and you take it and throw it at somebody and it's just like a design on their T-shirt. Okay, so we'll see it in person if you don't know cleavers. And then I know that you heard last time about garlic mustard. Well, today you'll see the garlic mustard is in full flower and starting to seed. And at this time of year, it's not quite as palatable. I like to eat it when it's just that basil rosette. Now, the flowers are good right now, and later the seeds will be good once they've like matured. But otherwise, the leaves can be a little bit bitter. But the basil rosette is very nice. Also, when it's small like that, then you can pull it out and use its root to make something like horseradish. But instead of horseradish root, you're going to use garlic mustard root. It's delicious. Okay, so one more, I think. Sochan. All right, so this is also called cut leaf coneflower. If you are buying native plants, that's what you would know it as. So what I've made for you, we're going to see the recipe in a second, but is a hummus. And cleavers are the star of that show. And then there is a little bit of garlic mustard in it, not a lot, but just enough to say, yes, I made something here with garlic mustard because there's a lot of it. But then, before I left my walk, I was just like, I wonder what's over there by the road, like across the parking lot. And fortunately, I saw Sochan, so that I could put some of that in the recipe too. So it is delicious. When their plants are young, I have the picture of like the petiole, so the part that's attached to the leaf, kind of like celery, and it's crunchy and delicious. I didn't actually put those in, I just did the leaves into the hummus, although I could have. I don't know why I didn't. All right, one more. I think we have, all right, perfect. So your hummus today also has some wood sorrel. That's the picture from here, but there was only one plant here that I noticed. Again, I'm sure it's all over, but that's just one I noticed. So I picked some wood sorrel in my front yard, like in my gardens, to add to this. A little bit of sourness. It's that one, it gets a yellow flower, and it looks, they look like clovers, but each leaf has like a crease. They kind of close up. So also garlic mustard, the Sochan, which is what foragers call it because that's the edible form, but the native plant, cut leaf coneflower. And then the cleavers, there's the most of that than anything else. And the reason I put the sumac on there are some sumac plants here, and I have made the sumac that you dust on. It's a lot of work, and ever since I made it, I decided I really would rather just use the fruit for other recipes. So I've been buying my sumac, I'm just gonna show you this, from the farmer's market in Grand Rapids. This is Phoenician Spice Company, and it's delicious. It's like the first one where you can that I've tasted, that I bought commercially, where you can taste the sourness, the tartness of the plant. So anyway, I'm super excited to use that. And so, Marnie, if you wanted to like just put a little dusting on each one, I don't know. You've got a big job here, so.
I like it. I have got zero.
Okay.
Really goodness here.
Perfect. She's making it all look so good. We're going to have to really tip her well tonight. All right, so let's see here. That's everything, spring hummus. But I think that we should pass those out. Okay, so.
What would you like to do first? The butter or we can both?
No, the hummus, because I haven't talked about the butter yet. That was supposed to be a surprise, Marnie. I'm kidding. All right, so all the crackers, and the crackers are all gluten-free also. So I just don't know. There are probably some nuts or something. So if you need something else, let us know.
Yeah, they came treated 2 years ago, it's already just.
Yes, thank you, Marnie, for the little garnish. Yep, so I picked those flowers for you so that it could be on top. Yep. In that, I also put allium salt in the hummus. This is all the allium salt I have left from what I made last year. And I have more of the leaves. I do have a picture of it in one of these slides. The leaves of like field garlic, you just add them to salt and put them in a food processor and process it up. And then you have allium salt. I like to do 2 times the herb to 1 part salt. 2 parts herb. Thank you both. Don't forget to eat one yourself. All right. So anyway, allium salt, when you don't have something in your hand, I'll pass this around so you can smell it. Don't let me forget. All right, mushrooms. That was exciting to see mushrooms out on the trail yesterday. So we're going to see these. The ones on the top are golden mushrooms, golden oysters, I mean. What's that? Yeah. Yes, for sure. Yep, yep. Eat your garlic mustard. All right, so there are a couple mushroom books here. These are very simple mushroom books. I don't have like deep knowledge of, all the mushrooms in Michigan or anything like that, but I know 6 or 8 really well. And the ones that I know I can eat, I know them well. So when I saw the golden oysters at the top, and then below that are some regular oyster mushrooms, we'll see them both outside. But what I wanted to show was how it's important to take different pictures or to look at different things. So even on mushrooms, sometimes somebody might send a picture like to a friend or something they know is like a mushroom expert and say, is this edible or what is this? But all they've done is taken a picture of the top. And as you can see, on both of these types of oyster mushrooms, underneath the mushroom, it has gills, and that is unique. I mean, there are different types of things underneath mushrooms, but this one has gills. And the gill runs all the way down and kind of makes what seems like a stem. And it'll always be like that. If it's not like that, it's not an oyster mushroom. So, oh, yes. Totally. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. So we do have something for trash. I will compost everything that's compostable, which is everything in like industrial compost. And if you don't finish it, it's fine. But anyway, Sai has the trash can. All right. So we will see those tonight. Thank you, Tim. All right. Conifer tips. So we are going to have another recipe, and this one will include tips from spruce, a Norway spruce. But there are lots of different tips that you can eat. Just don't eat yew, Y-E-W, and don't eat Norfolk Island pine, which that one you don't see very much anyway, but just in case, I did need to say that because they have tips. And you can see the one on the top right, that is a hemlock, and that could look a little bit like a yew, but it's not. So we're going to see a spruce in person, and you can taste that in person. All right, the next. Okay, so a couple other things that we're going to have a butter. We're going to taste an herb butter. And really, spring herb butters are fabulous. And I always just put whatever I want in them. But today I followed an actual recipe that is fantastic. So not only does it have the spruce tips in it, it also has some field garlic leaves, and then, which that's the same thing that I made this salt out of, the field garlic leaves. You can see them there. If you break it apart and smell it and it's oniony or like chives, it's edible. It's in the allium family and it's edible. Yeah, yeah, those are the leaves. So we'll see that outside. Maybe. I only noticed it in one area, and if I walk past it, but hopefully we'll see it outside. And then the other thing that is, I didn't see growing here, but many people have this in their yards, and I needed to bulk up this butter. So because essentially the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of spruce tips and a 1/4 cup of other herbs. So I used the allium leaves or the field garlic leaves, and then also ground elder from my yard. So that's the same. It's also sometimes called gout weed or bishop's weed. So if you're interested in that, you can see the name and the scientific name, and you can look it up. You probably have walked by it in your neighborhood.
Does that one also have another brother species that's bicolor?
Yes, like snow on the mountain. Sometimes people call that one. It's a variegated, so it's green with some white on it. Mostly looks kind of like a lighter green with white. Also edible. It's kind of vegetal in a nice way. There's a little bit of spice, obviously not hot, but there's a little, like something that goes, cool. Enough that I made salt out of it last year, and it was very good. Yeah. No, I use it wet, like a fresh plant. 2 parts of the plant to 1 part salt, unless I taste it after and go, oh, this is too salty or something. Obviously, you want it a little salty because you're going to use it as a seasoning, or that's how I do it. So like I use this in the hummus. But after I put all of that in the food processor and get it really buzzed together, I like to dry it. You don't have to, but if you don't dry it, then it's probably best in the fridge. Salt is a preservative, so not necessarily, but like I don't like to waste my stuff and have it go moldy. So I put it in the fridge unless I have dried it. I have a dehydrator, and so I put it in there. And it's always different how long it takes to dry, but I dry it at about 100 degrees. So it could go for 4 hours. It might take 8. It just depends on how humid things are. All right. So now, with all of those things, you're going to taste Chef Jenny Lessard's spruce tip butter. And that's on that little bannock bread, which is what I just call boring bread. It's gluten-free and vegan, but what it does is it helps you be able to taste the butter. While you're tasting, I'd probably need a permit or something in this building. Yeah. All right, so something else I wanted to show you while you're eating spruce tip, I love to follow forager chef Alan Burgo. He's all over social media and has a weekly email, and his book is fantastic. He's working on a second book right now, like it's at the editors and everything. But he has this recipe for the spruce tip syrup. Do you see how like liquidy it is right now? All that liquid is just pulled out of the spruce tips. I put turbinado sugar over the spruce tips. It was basically equal parts, spruce tips and sugar. I did it once before with brown sugar, and it was delicious. But his recipe does say that he prefers the turbinado, and I happen to have it in my cupboard this time. So I was like, okay, I'll try that. So yeah, I have to do this every once in a while. This will be ready supposedly when? June 9th. I wrote that on here. Oh, no, 2 times as much sugar. 400 grams of sugar and 200 grams of spruce tips. That's what was in this. So I can't wait. It was delicious last time, kind of molassesy, like a citrus molasses, so good. But what happens is that you just have to put this in a pot so that any last bits of sugar dissolve. You know, you just put it on the heat for a little bit, not much, and stir it. And then you strain out the spruce tips. And it's delicious. You can put it on anything, but certainly ice cream, but it doesn't have to be, even though this is sweet, it could be lean towards savory. Like you could serve it with cheese, for example. On a charcuterie, it would be very nice. All right, so that's spruce tip. Well, really the star, I think, is dandelion. And do you want me to just ask, Marnie? Would it be easier? So one of these recipes is full-on regular, and the other one is vegan and gluten-free. So one has butter and sour cream. Neither have eggs. So this is a muffin. And one of them is gluten-free and vegan. And then well, you could put this on top, or you could just come up after maybe and taste with a spoon. I'm not sure what to do. I have whipped cream. So there is a vegan whipped cream. And it's starting to deflate a little bit. So, yeah. Okay, good. So anyway, there's a regular whipped cream, but the whipped cream is essential. You have to taste that, whether it's on your muffin or not.
Put them on. But how many vegans do we have? How many people really prefer to have the vegan muffin? All right, then I'll go with.
Perfect. Yeah, because as I said, it is deflating. It's aquafaba. Have you ever worked with that? It's like chickpea. Anyway, because I was making the hummus anyway. But all right, perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Marty. You're amazing. I didn't warn her beforehand that I needed help. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So the reason, even though there aren't tons of dandelions right now in flower, there are enough to make things, especially if you just go out and let's say, you know, you had just mowed 2 days ago, but the dandelions are starting to pop up again. Then all you have to do is take the petals and like hold them up in one hand, hold them tightly together, and then take scissors and cut right at the top of the green bract. I'll show you this when we go outside, because you don't want too much of the green in it, what's holding them all together, because that's bitter. So when you make anything with dandelion petals, it's better not to have those, unless you're hoping for a little bitterness, because sometimes that can be good too for our digestion. But so there are dandelion petals, and then there is a violet sugar that's dusted on top of the muffin. You won't get to see it now because of the whipped cream, but it's there. Okay, good. All right. So the next one, and the violets really are barely out now too. I mean, it depends on if you mow very much. Like we don't mow as much, so we get to enjoy them for a long time. The violets I used for this recipe though, that species is actually not flowering anymore this year. It's the most early flowering violet that I know of. So anyway, it's Viola odorata. All right, then sweet woodruff, which is, I also didn't find this in the woods, so I thought, oh, you know, didn't even think about it until I came to the front of the building to step in, use the bathroom, and I was like, oh, look at that, they're growing it right there by that service berry. Perfect, so now I can share this fantastic whipped cream with you. I don't want you to open this because it's really high up, and I'm ready to strain it. This is the best stuff. You could put your nose by it. You can smell it for sure. So this is, what's in here is that sweet woodruff plant and vodka. And I had them together for like, I don't know. I really don't know all my dates. I said vodka, yes. So, I know. So then I strained it after a time. It could have been 2 weeks, it might have been 6 weeks, it might have been a couple months, I can't remember. Then I added more sweet woodruff. So that this is double infused. It's the same vodka that's getting infused twice. So it was essentially a whole gallon's worth of dried herb. But the herb wasn't all pushed down or anything. You know, this is a light, fluffy herb. So you can start passing those out while I'm talking. Yeah, for sure. So then this has just been sitting there. I need to strain it. This was ready on March 19th. But when you're doing all this work, you know, foraging and making stuff, you don't always have time to strain your things. And this will taste great regardless. So when I strain it, what's left is a wild vanilla extract. And so this I love to use in baked goods. I didn't use it in the dandelion because I just didn't want to overpower that sweet dandelion. But I needed you today to taste the whipped cream. So once you're done there, then we'll start passing this around and you can smell it and see if the smell seems to be the same as what you tasted in that whipped cream. Delicious. Gallium odoratum. Now, there is another gallium species, triflora, or triflorum, I forget. That one is also used to make wild vanilla. And so is sweet clover, like sweet yellow clover, sweet white clover. They're the tall ones. But anyway, you can start passing that around and smell it. Or just look at it. All right, thank you for that. And here are your fabulous, this is everything, dandelion muffins with violet sugar and sweet woodruff whipped cream. Could you taste all those flavors? Okay. Yeah, good, good, thank you. All right, so, oh my gosh, yay, we get to go outside. I would love to take any questions right now, and also, we are gonna go outside and I can answer questions there too. If you feel you need to leave for any reason or just don't want to do the walk with us, that's fine. All the plants, you know, if you have questions when we get out there, I'm happy to answer questions about different plants too. But I'm definitely going to point out all of these plants in case you want to use them. Mm-hmm. Oh, great question. How do I use the nourishing vinegars? Personally, I love to put it on a salad and just make like an oil and vinegar salad. That's the best, easiest way. So when I strain that, I'll put it in something that's kind of easy to pour. And I just pour a little bit of the vinegar and then I pour a little olive oil, salt and pepper it and eat it. It's different with every one of them. Mugwort is incredible. I had to stop taking it out though. It's incredible flavor, and depending on when you make your vinegar, the flavor can change. So the last one that I made, which was in the fall, that flavor, it's like perfume. Every time I open it, I feel like it's, even though it wasn't in flour, it's really incredible. But the problem is that if I take it out and I keep like serving other people, then I don't have it for my bones and it takes 6 weeks to, you know, so I was like, I almost brought it. I went, no, Leah, keep that and use it. So I can show the horsetail because it's not ready yet. So I'm sorry I don't have it for you to taste, but I think it's delicious. And you probably make salad dressings with vinegar, right? So another thing that I love to do, which is in the recipe, it also says at the end oxymel, nourishing vinegar and oxymel. And the herbal term oxymel essentially means that it's a vinegar and honey and something was infused in that. It could be an herb, like plant matter, or it could be berries, like you could make a raspberry fruit oxymel or a raspberry leaf oxymel. But essentially, it's just adding the honey. So what I'll do is, let's say I poured this and ended up with 1 cup in the end of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to get a little more, but just say I have a cup. And I might keep a ½ cup of that as vinegar, just straight up. And then the other ½ cup, I'm going to add honey to make an oxymel. And that's really nice on a salad too, like a little bit of sweet vinegar, sweet and sour. I like to do that especially if I'm putting like chicken on my salad, and then to have a little sweet, and it's very nice. But anyway, so then let's just say now I've got a half cup of vinegar and that I'm going to add honey to. You could add up to the same amount of honey. So you could add a whole half cup of honey. For me, that makes it a little too sweet. So I like to put about half of that. So if I had a half cup of vinegar, I would add a quarter cup of honey and just stir it together. And it's all shelf stable. I don't put these in the fridge. And then just enjoy it until it's gone, which goes pretty fast. And Marnie, you're going to have some of my mugwort vinegar. Is there another question? Yeah. On the trail, on cement. Oh, yes, yes. Exhibit A, plantain. I love making plantain oil. So that plant is wonderful to eat, and I know it seems a little bit rubbery, but if you get young tender plants and cut them small and put them either just fresh in a salad, or you could cook them when you're cooking other greens. But I really like it in tea. I dry it for tea. And what I don't dry for tea, I dry for oil. I make almost all my oils with dried plant. So I love that one. Also, yarrow, St. John's wort. I use that every day on my face. Oh, mugwort oil is amazing. So, yeah. Oh, right. No, I have not. Sam Thayer makes a lot of nut oils, and I buy from him acorn and hickory. But it's really best if you have a press, like if you have machinery to make those. Like I just haven't, I don't know. It's hard enough to get the oil out of that's been just like infusing with plant matter. Yeah. Made a Oh, yeah. Yes, perfect. And there's no butter recipe there because it's Chef Jenny, whatever, it's her butter. So you can always just Google that or ask me for the website. All right, so I think we're good. If you want to take a little second to look at anything, you're welcome to. And then we will start the walk, and we're going to do over by the playground. So you don't have, or if you need to go to the bathroom or something, you could do that and just catch up with us. All right? No, I mean, unless you need us to, but I don't think so. We were going to kind of try to pack up, I think. Yeah. So if you want to put anything in your vehicle and then walk with us. Oh, yeah, thank you. All right.
So does this book have any recipes or anything, or is it just edible stuff?
He doesn't have recipes, but he does suggest like how to use it. So for example, oh, look at that. I opened right to dandelion.
Yeah.